Yeah. Thank you for being here. I want to get into Maria. I want to talk about Maria Callas.
Who would believe that the girl once hailed as the most beautiful woman in the world, the rebellious soul who kissed danger like a lover, would one day sit alone in a cold mansion, her body still radiant, but her spirit fractured? What could possibly break someone like Angelina Jolie? She was Hollywood's dark angel, tattooed, wild, brilliant. She wore blood around her neck, kissed her brother on the red carpet, and adopted a whole tribe from the corners of the world. She didn't follow rules, she rewrote them. But now, at 65, she's nearly invisible. No red carpets, no premieres, just whispers, and a silence so loud it screams. The world saw the icon, but behind the eyeliner and elegance was a woman unraveling. She was born into fame, but not into love. Angelina Jolie Voight came into the world on the 4th of June, 1975, in Los Angeles, California, a place where dreams are manufactured and souls are often broken in silence. Her father, John Voight, was already a Hollywood star. Her mother, Marceline Bertrand, a quiet beauty with unfulfilled dreams, gave up her acting career to raise Angelina and her brother James. But even as a child, Angelina felt abandoned. Her father left when she was just a baby. The man who should have taught her what safety meant instead became a distant headline. And though her mother loved her deeply, that love came wrapped in sorrow. Marceline never fully recovered from the betrayal, and her sadness sank into the walls of their home like smoke from a long-extinguished fire. Angelina once said, "I grew up around shadows. My mother cried more than she laughed. I thought that was normal." She was different. Even as a little girl, darker, quieter. She didn't play with dolls, she dissected them. She wore black. She talked about death. At school, the other children didn't understand her. They mocked her for being too thin, too pale, too intense. She didn't belong, and she knew it. And then, there was the mirror. From a young age, Angelina was told she was beautiful. But the mirror didn't reflect a girl. It reflected a question mark. Her beauty became a curse. Men looked at her too long. Women judged her too quickly. And inside, she felt nothing. By the time she was 11, she was self-harming. By 14, she was sleeping with knives. Her mother, overwhelmed, allowed her boyfriend to move in with her just so she wouldn't run away. But the damage was already there, deep, festering. She once whispered in an interview, "I didn't expect to be alive past 30. The little girl born into glitter was already unraveling, quietly, beautifully, and tragically. She didn't find acting. Acting found her. At 16, Angelina dropped out of acting school. The auditions were cruel. Directors told her she was too intense, too fragile, too much. She failed. Then failed again, and again. Her famous last name, Voight, didn't open doors. It slammed them shut. People expected perfection. She gave them pain. But pain became her greatest weapon. Her first roles were forgettable. Background girl, punk with 2 lines, dead by page 12. But even then, there was something unsettling about her presence. She didn't act. She haunted. She didn't deliver lines. She exposed wounds. And then came Gia. In 1998, she portrayed Gia Karanji, the tortured supermodel who burned out before her time. It wasn't a performance, it was a possession. Angelina bled into the role as if she had lived Gia's drug-fueled rise and fall herself. She won a Golden Globe, but more than that, Hollywood finally looked at her and didn't blink. Still, the girl behind the curtain remained chaotic. While the cameras rolled, her personal life unraveled like a black ribbon in the wind. She married Johnny Lee Miller in rubber pants and a t-shirt soaked in his name, written in her own blood. She kissed her brother on national television. She confessed to hiring a hitman on herself. And when asked why she carried knives, she answered, "They make me feel alive." Even in her rise, she was falling. Yet somehow, between the wreckage and the rebellion, she built a reputation no one could deny. Raw, fearless, utterly magnetic. She wasn't chasing fame, she was exorcising demons. And Hollywood, hungry for something real in a city of masks, couldn't look away. By the early 2000 seconds, Angelina Jolie was no longer just a Hollywood actress. She was the Hollywood enigma. She didn't walk into rooms. She entered like a storm. Her name alone could carry a film. Her face, savage, sensual, unforgettable, became one of the most photographed in the world. And then came Lara Croft. The role catapulted her into superstardom. Suddenly, little girls wanted to be strong like Jolie. Studios wanted her to headline action films. Fashion magazines couldn't get enough. The world was in love with her danger. But even as she stood at the peak, her soul trembled. She adopted Maddox from Cambodia and shocked the world, not with the adoption, but with how real her love was. She wasn't playing the role of a mother, she became one, and it changed her, temporarily. Then came Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The film exploded. Chemistry leaked off the screen. And somewhere between take 27 and the final cut, Angelina and Brad Pitt, Hollywood's golden boy, ignited a scandal that shattered America's favorite fairy tale, Brad and Jen. Suddenly, she was not just an icon, she was the villain in every tabloid. Homewrecker, man-eater, the femme fatale who stole the prince. But even as the headlines sharpened their knives, she built a kingdom with Brad, adopting more children, birthing others, forming the most visible family in the world. She won an Oscar for Girl, Interrupted, directed In the Land of Blood and Honey, was named a UNHCR Goodwill Ambassador, then later, a Special Envoy. She traveled to war zones, gave voice to the voiceless, risked her life to understand human suffering. She became more than a star, she became a force. And yet, something was always missing. In rare interviews, her eyes betrayed a distance, a sorrow. Fame hadn't filled the void, it had dressed it in diamonds. Angelina once said, "I don't feel I belong anywhere. I never have." She had everything: power, purpose, perfection. Everything except peace. No one saw it coming. Not when she walked the red carpet in a shimmering gown, holding hands with Brad. Not when their children smiled like postcards of a perfect family. Not when she stood before the United Nations, demanding justice for refugees. But behind the eyes that had once seduced the world, something was crumbling. The cracks began with whispers, fights, silence, distance, then divorce. In 2016, Angelina Jolie filed to end her marriage to Brad Pitt. The world stopped. This wasn't just another Hollywood breakup. This was the couple, the royalty. They had built an empire of love and purpose. And now, that empire was burning. Angelina didn't speak much, but in court documents, one word echoed like thunder: safety. Custody battles turned ugly, allegations surfaced, rumors spiraled. The media swarmed like vultures, digging through the ashes of what once seemed indestructible. And then, as if the pain wasn't enough, her body turned against her. Angelina shocked the world again by revealing she had undergone a preventive double mastectomy. Her mother had died young of cancer, her aunt too. Jolie carried the BRCA1 gene mutation, an invisible clock ticking beneath her skin. So, she removed the parts of herself the world had sexualized. It wasn't vanity, it was survival. She later removed her ovaries as well, facing early menopause and the psychological fallout of that decision, all while raising 6 children in the public eye. She once admitted, "There's nothing to hold on to, not fame, not beauty, not love, not even your own body." And perhaps the most haunting of all, after the divorce, Jolie became isolated. She rarely appeared in public. She lost weight, lost roles, lost relevance. Hollywood moved on, the cameras shifted, the calls slowed. She was once the flame that set screens on fire. Now, she was barely a flicker. A friend reportedly said, "She lives like a ghost, wandering a palace she no longer wants." And maybe that's the cruelest twist of all. That the woman who gave everything, her body, her heart, her soul to the world, was left with nothing but silence. She stopped trying to be seen. For a woman whose very presence once dominated every camera in the room, Angelina Jolie's greatest transformation came not from a role, not from an award, but from disappearance. She withdrew from Hollywood. No more blockbuster roles, no more red carpets every season. She chose something else, something quieter, more dangerous in its own way. She chose stillness. In her hidden life, Jolie became a full-time mother, 6 children, 6 completely different souls, some adopted, some born from her body, all raised under one roof, with one guiding philosophy: I want them to feel safe. I never did. She cooks, she gardens, she walks alone in the hills behind her home, and she writes. In rare interviews, she speaks slowly now, carefully. Her voice is softer, no longer seducing or shocking, just truthful. She has spoken about healing, of choosing therapy, of forgiving her father after decades of estrangement, about learning to be vulnerable without bleeding, about teaching her children not just how to survive, but how to love without fear. And she's still working. Not in the glamorous way Hollywood adores, but in war zones, refugee camps, burned-out schools. She speaks for the displaced, the voiceless, the forgotten. Her pain became her compass. She once wrote, I have scars, but they are mine, and I'm still here. Her beauty changed. It no longer made headlines, but it deepened. She looked tired, but also clear, like someone who had walked through fire and come out carrying only what mattered. At 65, Angelina Jolie is no longer a legend of the screen. She is something rarer. A woman who lived through destruction and chose meaning. Once, she was the girl who wore blood and defied gravity. Then, the mother who held 6 children close while her world collapsed. Now, at 65, she is neither icon nor outcast. She is simply herself. No scripts, no performances. Just a woman who has seen every kind of beauty and every kind of pain and still chose to stay. Some say she vanished. But maybe she finally arrived. So, what do we do with a story like hers? A story where the spotlight gave everything and took it all away? Where survival looked nothing like victory, and healing came not from applause, but from silence? Maybe we remember this: that destruction doesn't always end in ashes. Sometimes it ends in peace. And if this story touched something in you, if somewhere behind your own eyes there's a storm just like hers, then maybe, just maybe, you're not as alone as you think.